congratulations, Andy Reid, for winning the Super Bowl this year. Um, he's a good good quarterback. He's a good head coach and everything. I really thought the 49ers would have it this year. But I'm an Eagles fan, so it was nice. It was also nice to see Kelsey. Um, is it Jason Kelsey for the Philadelphia Eagles? His brother was was on the Andy Reid yeah, Chiefs. I'm tired. Sorry. For for the Chiefs and everything. So his younger brother at least won the Super Bowl. So two of the Kelseys won Super Bowls. That's like very cool. And it's very cool that Andy Reid has won his first Super Bowl as well. So I have tried many times to read Letter One of Frankenstein, and I blew chunks, so I just scrapped it. Um, but I am going to talk about Mary Shelley's writings, and it's going to tie in with how do you know when your story is actually done, when it's actually done, and everything. And I think, like I said, I think that's I think that's very hard for anybody to really know. Um, Most of your writers are very picky, and rewrite. And remember I was talking to Dorrance Publishing one time, and the older woman I was talking to, she goes, "You sound like every other writer I've ever talked to. It's never good enough," and that is kind of a problem. And I'm learning that you just have to move on with the story. You gotta. It's okay if you have a eureka moment and you go, I'm totally going in a different way with this. I have to scrap most of these chapters that I wrote for a very long time, and I have to rewrite this, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But stick with that. Stick with it. Don't uh, don't go back and say I'm going to do it all over again. Again, that's what I've been doing. I'm surprised that people at Wattpad, I mean, readers at Wattpad, I mean, I got 481 reads on my sexual adventure already. That's awesome. That's almost 500 reads. Um, Over at Booksy, it's 15, almost 15, it's 1490 something, 95, I think it is. It's almost 1500. Flame is almost at 1600. I got about 5,100 readers on Booksy by itself. I think Booksy's a little bit easier to get those numbers than it is on Wattpad. Wattpad is very more. It's a lot more difficult, and you need to be up on the charts, to get that kind of recognition. Even if you're not done with a story, it's not bad. I mean, I put my stuff on all my stuff. So everything that I do is first draft. I try to make it as clean as I possibly can for the readers and everything, and I do what I can. The finished product is not going to be on Wattpad, but what I probably would do is probably put 40 to 50% on Wattpad, and the rest of it you're going to have to buy it. You're going to have to go to the Amazon and read the rest to figure out what actually happened. What happened to Jennifer? What happened to Jennifer's friend? Did she get married? Did she, I made huge leaps and bounds this weekend on the I always want to say secret. My uh, my sexual adventure. I made leaps and bounds. I did something that was very could be very controversial in it, and I will tell you. Uh, what I did is that the girls' night out. Okay, it's not getting as much love as I thought it would. I think it's well written. Um, she hadn't eaten any. Jennifer hasn't eaten anything all day. She's been at the beauty salon. She got her nails done. She got waxed. Basically, she went to a spa. I just said salon. I might change that in my final, you know, as I'm doing rewrites and everything. Um, Another thing too is not to over correct yourself as you keep writing your story. You want to keep the story. You want to keep the story going, moving, and you want to keep everything in, cyclical as much as possible. Keep everything going, over and over and over, you know, until it's done. Then that's when you really go in and do your rewrites and rewrites and rewrites and rewrites. It's just the life. That's just the day in the life of a writer. You're going to have to do it. Stephen King says there's times you're going to have to take chunks out of your story, even if it's half of your book, and rewrite it. You're going to have to deal with it. So when you will know when the story is complete, when it's done, when it's finished. You know, there's a part of you that's going to say it's good enough. Let's just publish this, just so you can say, "Hey, I got a published book." I went through Amazon to get it published and everything, and that's where I'm going through. I'm going to go through Amazon. I'm going to get more brutal comments from people that spend $15 on my book or spend $10, whatever I decide to put a price on it. I'm thinking about around $8 to $10. I don't know. I don't know how many chapters it's going to take. I already have 13, and most of them are going to be gone anyway because the story has changed, and it's changed for the better, and it's easier to write, and it's a lot. It's just a lot more straightforward. It's more relationship based versus what I was trying to do, which wasn't bad. I just didn't feel it. So anyway, um, you you will know when it's done, by how you read it and everything. And when you read it and everything, if you have the money, go to a professional editor, and everything. Now, there's one thing I do want to talk about, and that's going into writing groups. I've done it. I've done it here in Carlisle. There was one. I'm not going to say his name. Um, it just didn't work out for me. The writing group just didn't work out for me. They knew what my disability was, being dyslexic. I was looking for help. I was looking for guidance. I was looking for, hey, I see what you're doing. Here's how you can make this more of a reality for you. And it didn't work out that way. He was forcing me to read other people's work and critique that. I'm having problems critiquing my own stuff. I spent more time on my stuff because I have a bigger problem and a bigger issue than most people, you know. And I called it quits. He would not stop hounding me on critiquing it, and I just told him, I said, I don't feel comfortable in it. I don't want it. Well, even an average reader would be able to. I said, and then he started. And then he got a little snippy with because I got pretty snippy with him. And then he says, well, your Ouija board story, and I was like, oh God, and I was waiting for a wait. And he says it's fragmented. No crap, of course it's fragmented. You know what I mean? Even I knew it was fragmented. He says, well, why did you put it out? For critique if blah 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 blah. Because I'm looking for somebody to take their time and want to teach me something. That's what I'm looking for. And then he got, well, it looks like you're looking for a professional editor. You need to spend your own money and get. That's not what I was looking for. I'm looking for somebody that would actually say, I know what you're doing. I know the path that you're on is good, but here's what you need to do. Right now, last night when I was writing the sexual adventure, I've been noticing I've been using a lot of he said, she said, he said, she said throughout the thing. It's irritating, and I know it has to be irritating to the readers as well. It's okay because it's a first draft. and at least it gives you an idea who is saying what and what is saying. When I got to the third chapter last night. Spent I did 4 pages, almost 5 pages in one sitting. After I just spent the whole entire day doing chapter two, and that's about 15 pages long. And I just had this. I just want to keep it going. I just want to keep it going. So I did, and I loved what I did with chapter three. I really do. I really like it. Some people might say this doesn't really fit in here. I think it will. If it doesn't, I'll take it out and do something different. But until then, I think it ties in with chapter two very well, and it does a very good job. You got two women, Jennifer, and you got Judy. Okay, Jennifer meets Judy in in the. You know what? I'm just going to talk about my stuff. um, Jennifer ta- uh, yeah, Jennifer goes in. I call it, it's a bar. I don't know if it exists or not. I just made it up. It's called the Rusty Nail. They live in Texas. I'm not getting into the whole Texas thing and the whole everything because it's about a relationship based story. They just happen to live in Texas. It will actually crawl into you know, I mean, you'll see the names of places and everything. And one thing I like about Texas is that everything in Texas is so easy to write and spell. It is the way it is spelled. You know, how you pronounce it, it is the way it is. So that's good. That's good for me, you know. And I kind of made the women kind of sass. They're kind of a little on the sassy side. They're nice women. They're good people. Um, you know, Jeff, her boy, Jennifer's boyfriend. He's a lawyer. He texts her, says, "I'm not coming home. Don't wait up for me. I'm gonna stay at the office. I gotta get over these files with with this client. Kind of a big deal, I guess. He's really having an affair. That's really what he is. I kind of made little references to it and everything. So um, they got it talking and everything, and then Judy is not just her friend, but she's also her boss at a bank, A&M. That's the name of the bank I named up. It's a credit union in in Texas, and this she lives in Arlington, Texas, by the way. And so anyway, she says to her, she goes, "It's a Monday, so tomorrow's gonna be Tuesday, obviously." And then she says to her, she says to her, she goes, "Do you want to be alone? Do you want to be alone tonight? Do you want me to hang out with you, you know, as long as I can because I gotta get up in the morning and get to work. Unlike you, you're on a 2 week vacation. You do whatever you want, you know." And so they go they go to Jennifer's house, and Jennifer said something in the parking lot before they went to her house. And she says, "Do you want to do something? Have you ever thought about doing something different? Have you ever thought about doing something spontaneous, something you've never done before?" And she goes, "Well," then she kind of goes, "Is this has something to do with this young girl that you met at Starbucks?" And she goes, "Yeah, it does actually." So anyway, they go to Jennifer's house. Jennifer continues with the train of thought that she had at the parking lot. She's putting she's putting the leftovers away because they couldn't eat really. They didn't really want to eat the food. They just they had beer. They were talking. It was emotionally charged. Um, Jennifer's kind of emotionally charged because of her boyfriend, and everything. So she's talking in the kitchen, well, Judy's talking to her while she's in the kitchen and everything. She comes out and she, you know, says, "Have you ever wanted to try something different? I mean, something sexually different. Do you want to try something sexually different?" And Judy goes, "Well, I guess, I've had thoughts about doing something, like out of the ordinary." And and that's when she drops a bombshell on her friend. She goes, "I want to have sex with other women. I want to know what it's like. I want to try this. I want to experiment with sex." And she's 38 years old. Her friend is 42. I think it's a 4 years difference or something like that. Um, and Jennifer says, "I've had a crush on you ever since I met you. Ever since I interviewed for the job 8 years ago. I've had this really big. I've had sexual fantasies of you, and you know, and if I'm this is how I feel, and everything." And Judy was sitting on the couch. She's sitting on the couch. She's listening to her, and she just doesn't say anything. And she has that oh shit moment. Oh my god, she's just going to pick up and leave and go. And I don't know what's going to happen to my job. On top of everything. And then she has an idea. Judy has an idea. She goes, "Why don't we watch, porn, basically? Why don't we watch these adult movies and let's see where it goes, you know? But if I tell you to stop, I don't want to do this. We stop and we don't do this." Well, that doesn't happen. They get involved in it. They get very, very involved in the lovemaking. They have fun. They fall asleep on the couch. They're naked, obviously. And at somewhere like 1:15 in the morning, Judy gets up. She slides herself out of the couch, not waking up Jennifer, and she has huge regrets, and she feels very sorry and very sad and very she feels dirty. She feels disgusted, not because it's something that's not natural to her. It's something that she just when she never thought she would do, but she did. And she leaves the house. She goes into her car. She drives off. She leaves her panties. She leaves a lot of things. Well, not a lot of things. She picks up the most important stuff: her jacket, her purse, that kind of stuff. But her panties, her leftover food is she just leaves it there. And so, and she's crying and she's banging on the steering wheel, or gripping it tight, and she's crying and she says, "I'm not a lesbian. I'm not a lesbian. Why did I do this? Why did I do this for?" It felt good. It felt very good. It felt very, but it was afterwards. It was after the orgasms. It was after the rush of pleasure, and she fell asleep and she was tired because of it, and then all of a sudden she just has regrets and she doesn't do it. She can barely see her car's swaying back and forth, weaving to and fro, but she was able to see this parking lot, and she gets to this parking lot and it's a church. There's a church there. And I wrote a prayer that she wrote about asking Jesus to forgive her for what she did. And and she and she has that she she cares about what her parents think about her. Even at 40, she cares about what her parents think about her, what she's did, and would they forgive her for the acts of what she did. and she's already made up her mind. Her parents won't forgive her, family won't forgive her for it, and everything. Well, she meets a pastor. The pastor like knocks toot 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 on the door on the car window, on front passenger, yeah, front driver's side, and and I'm just gonna speed up. She rolls down the window. She leaves the car. They get into the church, and the reason why he was late getting out was because he had an AA meeting, and I don't know if he sponsors at his church because he is an alcoholic. He is also a drug addict, or he used to be, and she saw all these chairs and everything, and there was a desk and everything, and he says, "You came at the right time. I was just about to go home until you came into my parking lot." And he felt that, and she feels that it was God sent, that she was there. And he says 20, I think it's 20 years. He says, I've been sober for 20 years. He's like, can you believe that? 20 years? And when he was not getting anything out of her, because she's wearing a mini skirt, there's no panties. She feels dirty and she feels cheap right now. And she feels very vulnerable emotionally, And so he goes, so what's your story? And she just, I mean, very Texan like person, just very blunt to the point. She goes, I had sex with my girlfriend that I know for 8 years. And he's listening to this, and she goes, I did something that was supposed to be meant for a man and a woman, but I feel really dirty about what I did. I feel like, God isn't going to forgive me. I feel that I'm going to go to hell because of what I did. And the pastor's listening. His name's Pastor Andy. Didn't give him a last name, but it's just Pastor Andy. I think that was just good for now. I don't think he's going to be a fixture in the story anyway. I think this is just I mean, showing two paths of two different women, but they're friends and they care about each other and they obviously love each other, but they really do love each other in a pure way and not in a dirty sexual way, even though they had dirty sex, they had sex with each other. And he was moved. He was moved, and he understood what she was saying. He tells her his story, and he goes, I'm an base. I'm just going to paraphrase. I'm an alcoholic that killed my son, my 5-year, 4-year-old son. I was coming home from work. I was coming home. You know, he was loaded. He was drunk. He ran his son over while he was riding his tricycle in the driveway, waiting for his father to show up. And he just runs him over because he was too drunk to see him. And he says, as far as the homosexual or having sex with the homosexual acts that she was describing, the lesbian type of stuff, he goes, I've done that too, so I can get high. I did it for money. So he was actually a male prostitute at one time before he became a pastor. And he's basically telling her, there's nothing you can't say to me that I A, haven't done, B, and everything. And he says, you are on a fork in the road. If you choose to stay with your friend and live that way, all power to you. If you choose to not and go back to the church, back to your Christian faith, back to what you want to do, again, there's nothing there that can stop you. And he says to her, he goes, I can't even run my own life properly. How can I run anybody else's? Basically, he's saying, I'm not judging you. There is no judgment here, you know. And he says, but Jesus, Jesus waits patiently for us to return back to him. And he says that's what people in the Christian faith should do. We should just sit, pray, and hope that the people in our lives and the people that we know come back to us. I'm not trying to preach about Christianity and the evils of being you know sexually deviant or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean, or sexually active or anything. That's not my point. The point is that you got two different people who are going on two different roads, and hopefully those that fork that fork in the road comes back, and you know even in the beginning of the first chapter, or not, well, you know, yeah, maybe somewhere in the second or something like that. And even in the beginning of the story, she was saying, that she really likes men. She likes to have sex with men. This is Jennifer. This is Jennifer, not Judy. And she says, "Well, what is that going to be like for me to have sex with women?" You know, because she does like, the male genitalia, that kind of stuff. And she goes, maybe I can find a bisexual woman who wouldn't mind having a man in our relationship every so often, and then just kind of, send them out, I guess, And I've heard of that happening, in real life too. Um, so she's contemplating this, but she's mostly curious, and she's mostly wondering, you know, and she's pissed off at her boyfriend. She's pissed off, you know, she's just pissed off, and she just wants to try something that she's never done before. And it's kind of funny in a weird sort of way. It's like a mini, it's kind of like a midlife crisis type thing. She's 40, I mean, I'm sorry, she's 38 years old, and she hasn't really done anything that exciting, going to work, have sex with her boyfriend, go to sleep, go to work, and then the sex is becoming less and less. There's not a whole lot of sex going on. She's wondering why she's staying in the relationship in the first place. She's seeing lipstick stains on his lapel, on his collar. She smells perfume on him. She heard a woman's voice telling him to hurry up with his phone call to her, and wondering what that was about, and everything. I don't blame her. I really don't, actually, you know. And if she does decide that she just wants to stay with women, and everything, and that's how I feel about it. And personally, is that it's her journey that she can only take alone, and she's going to find out. She's going to be alone. She's going to be alone in this journey. There's not, because we're all alone in any journey. I don't care if you're heterosexual or I'm not, what I mean, or you're gay or lesbian or whatever. We all have journeys that we all have to do, and we all have to complete. This is very controversial, and this is what I think writers need to start. I mean, writers really need to start doing things that are more controversial. You'll get your name out there quicker. Not only that, but if I'm called every name in the book because of what I wrote, it means that people are reading my stuff, for one thing. And some of those people that, they're they're just gonna make my name more popular, if they, and that's how I look at it. Sometimes you're just better off to keep your mouth shut and not say anything. There was Married with Children, good example of that. That show was almost canceled. No one was watching it. No one really cared about it. People like things that, you know, that they can't have, or they want, but they can't, what I mean? They want it, but they can't have it, that type of thing. If it's given to them, they don't want it. You know what I mean? And no one was really interested in Married with Children at all. It was this Christian woman who saw Married with Children and made a huge stink publicly about it and how it was demoralizing our country and how it was. I don't know how it was because I'm a Christian, and I don't know how it was demoralizing our country if it was about to get people didn't like it. They couldn't stand it. But because of that woman, it's reverse psychology. Oh, we have to have it. Yeah, it's pissing this person off, and I understand that too, because I find sometimes I find a little joy in the fact that some people are a little ticked off at me for doing certain things, and it kind of makes you want to keep doing it, but we all unfortunately have to grow up sooner or later, um, and you know, and keep the peace, and everything. So that's 4 pages that I did on chapter 3, and it's called "When the Love Is Gone," and I thought it was a very nice title to it. The title to I changed "Fed Up" to "Window Shopping for a New Lover." I don't like it. I don't like it. I came up with another title again, but I can't remember what it was. So I'm just going to keep it till then. I mean, I think "Fed Up" is going to come later, um, in everything. And but yeah, I think "Fed Up" is going to come up later and everything. Now, is this Judy that she slept with, and Judy's having, you know, um, she's having a panic attack about what she did, and I understand that. I would understand that. Um, but she wants to stay friends with Judy. Judy wants to stay friends with Jennifer, and she just wants to draw a line in the sand. This can't happen again because I don't want to do that again because I don't like how I felt afterwards after we did it, that kind of thing. But is she going to replace the young guy that Jennifer had seduced and having sex with? It's possible. It really is. I don't see any reason to go to the wine and spirit store. That was kind of an interesting thing all to itself. That was kind of like a woman empowerment type move that I did. Some of it is kind of like women empowerment, sexuality, and I want to do things on my own terms and that kind of thing, and that's fine. I mean, um, then that's what the '70s was about. Bra. I think it was the '60s, of bra burning and everything. Um, uh, I think I think some women are still fighting a fight that they've won, to be honest with you. As far, I mean, um, there's never going to be equality in this life. I'm sorry to say it. I remember when Malcolm Jacobs from the Philadelphia Eagles, loved the guy. He's a great man. He wants equality. He This is the problem with a lot of athletes when they get from college to become multimillionaires and they have never did dishwashing and never. I'm not saying that some of them haven't done blue collar jobs they, you know, before they made it big, but I'm just saying that a lot of them went from college to multi-millions, after they graduated. I'm good for them, but they don't know what it's like to work at Walmart. They don't know what it's like to work at a Target. They don't know what it's like to be uh, as a dishwasher with being a dishwasher at Red Lobster. I've done it. I've done all of that. You know, it's hard work. You earn your hundred and some odd dollars that you get, and it's not much. It's depressing how much it really is. There's never going to be equality. I don't see any equality between dyslexics and non-dyslexics. I have never seen that. You can't do the job, you're going to get fired. That's just as simple as that. And there is no quotas for having a dyslexic in a workplace and whatever. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. Um, I mean, if there is equality, wouldn't we all be Stephen King? Wouldn't we all be Albert Einstein? Wouldn't we all be um, you know, wouldn't we all be rich and famous and everything? Then there's nothing to work for. You know, I mean, the fact that you get pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed down in life and you get beat up by life only to make it makes it that much better. Look at Andy Reid. He won the Super Bowl he won the Super Bowl today. 21 years it took him to win a Super Bowl, you know. Big deal. He won it, you know. And and it means a lot to him because he worked hard for it, you know. Not not every team, not you know, what was it, 32 teams in the NFL? Not all 32 teams are going to win Super Bowls. Maybe hundreds of years later. I don't know. But, you know, I mean, I feel there's always going to be a team that has never won a Super Bowl. I think that's always going to be the way it is. I think so. But I think eventually some team is going to finally make it, you know, and finally, you know, like the Vikings is a good one, a good example of that. So, you know, struggles in life is good. It keeps us strong. It keeps us motivated. It keeps us wanting to work harder. Nobody understands that more than I do. I do not take anything for granted. I do not take the fact that I can actually read a novel for granted because I know when I know what it's like not to be able to read a novel. I was 26 years when I was 26 years old. I was in a third grade reading level. You know, as I got older, things have gotten better. You know, it's like not really. It's just like a light switch went on inside my head, and lights, a lot of other light switches are keep going on in my head as well. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at is sexual. My sexual adventure. I was going to talk about Mary Shelley, um, you know, story. I'll probably do that another time and everything. But if you write something, if this YouTube channel that I'm doing right now, if this thing, you know, this one video, right, what I'm doing right now is considered controversial and whatever, it means I'm making people think, and that's a good thing. It's not a judgment. It's not a judgment call to anything. It's not, you know, um, trying to shove a certain um, politics or religion down someone's throat. It's just trying. It's having you as a reader trying to be empathetic to two different people in two different ways. You know, you might be angry with Judy for how she feels because they did something, because you might think that she did something very beautiful with a beautiful woman, and she's a beautiful woman. So why would she? Because she's more traditional. She's a more traditional person. Be empathetic to that person. I'm not telling you you have to understand it. Just okay, I don't get it, but more power to her. It's just like the same thing with Jennifer. You know, would I do something like that? Probably not. I probably would not. Um, there's no way I would. You know, um, I mean, it would be different for me. It would be with women, not with guys, and and I never really had a desire to do anything, you know, that drastic in my life. You know, my niece Brianna one time said to me, she goes, she saw me with my leather jacket and my, you know, and I took a picture, did a selfie, and I did that. And she said, she said to me, she goes, Uncle Howard, are you going through a midlife crisis? And I said to her, I said, do you see an 18-year-old in that picture? If you haven't seen an 18-year-old girl in that picture, and I'm 40, I'm going to be 45 this year, then No, I'm not having a midlife crisis. You know, uh, I didn't take a second mortgage to get a Lamborghini or something, yeah, something stupid like that. And guys do, they leave their wife after 20, 30 years of marriage. So there's something that a person can actually relate to with Jennifer. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to, put yourself in that position. If you really didn't decide, okay, not like Jennifer's decide she wants to do this, okay, but Judy, it was more of a knee jerk reaction to the adult videos that she was watching, porn videos that she was watching and everything, and she got turned on, and all of a sudden Jennifer, I mean, she was a beautiful woman then, and she is really hot now because you're turned on, and you just did this, spur of a moment, thing. I think later on, I think she will realize. I think she will definitely realize that that's what it was. It was just something spontaneous that she did, and she actually might feel good about it. I mean, oh, I did this thing. I would never do it again, but I did it. It's over with, and I'm kind of glad I did. To a degree, and that kind of thing. So, um, but yeah, that's like I said, that's where I'm at with my sexual adventure. It's going very well as far as I'm concerned. It really is. Um, you know, um, I will put the link on the bottom of it and everything, and I hope that more people will read it. I think it's good. I think it's going really really well. I think the writing, and another thing I noticed too in chapter 3, I didn't put he said, she said, he said, she said throughout the thing. I'm getting better. I'm getting a lot better in how I'm writing and how I'm doing things and how I'm executing things. I still got a long way to go. I am learning myself. I'm trying to figure out how and why writers do certain things, and that's fine because that's the whole learning process. Like as always, I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm going to say it's 42 minutes already in this video. So, like I said, keep writing, keep trying, and encourage each other to do uh, to do the best that you can possibly do, and and uh, and have a good one. And see you soon. Bye.